I'm Ann Buchan, and I'm doing my speech today on political parties, and this is my informative speech. In Understanding Politics, Thomas Magstad states the United States is the birthplace of the first modern theory of representative democracy ever put into practice. From its conception, it was not perfect, but it was a daring departure from the past and a bold attempt to reshape the future. Political parties are essential in order to make our government function properly. Oftentimes we get conflicting facts or are given biased information. The United States political system is complex. Although political parties are often regarded as necessary evils, they play an important role in American government and politics. The two major political parties, Democrats and Republicans, offer alternatives to voters and help citizens connect to their government. First, let's talk about how these parties were established. The birth of political parties occurred shortly after the formation of our country. Most people are aware that George Washington was the first president of the United States. What most people don't know is that the political parties were not an intended consequence of our government, but they occurred early on when disagreements arose after the signing of the Constitution. The two groups emerged from this conflict: the Democrats and the Republicans. It was the Federalists and the Democrat Republicans. According to Merriam-Webster, the Federalist Party is defined as the advocates of a federal union between the American colonies after the Revolution. The Democratic Republicans are defined as the political party of the early 19th century, favoring a strict interpretation of the Constitution to restrict the powers of federal government. Once the parties were formed, there was a point in time when everything was calm and people were happy. This period is referred to as the era of good feelings. At this time, the opposing parties did not play much role in our government. There was very little party competition, and the nation had very few issues. The 1820s through the 1850s, however, brought two more parties, the Democrats and the Whigs. In 1824, there were four candidates who ran for office. Andrew Jackson, a Democrat-Republican, had the highest percentage of the popular vote with 37.9%, but no single candidate actually had the majority of the vote. Therefore, the decision went to the House of Representatives. Andrew Jackson won the popular vote, but not the election. A feeling of mistrust followed after that period. Andrew Jackson began the movement to form the Democratic Party. In 1828, those who disliked Jackson formed the Whig Party. Unhappiness and discontent still ensued. Internal conflict within each party continued, and unhappy members of both the Whigs and the Democrats joined together to form what we now know as the Republican Party. Louis Sandy Maisel, author of American Political Parties and Elections, a very short introduction, states that the 1960s brought us to a time that emphasized civil rights, which initiated protests and led to the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The Democratic Party was in jeopardy. The Democratic Convention in 1972 consisted of anti-war protesters, civil rights advocates, and feminists, and they gave the party a very liberal appearance, and they led to an unpatriotic image for the Democrats. The Republican Party remained in power due to this. The Reagan coalition in the 1980s brought together those who were economically conservative, socially conservative, religious fundamentalists, Southern whites, and anti-communists. All of these groups came together in support of Reagan for president. The Democrats formed a leadership council to reshape their image. The New Democrats became popular and emphasized a healthy economy. These changes in both the parties throughout history have a strong impact on what they have become today and what they're designed to do. Let's take a look at the functions of the parties. The creation of the parties occurred because of disagreements between people. They were created to be a voice for those who may have differing viewpoints. Our current political parties serve as a vital function in our government. They are representatives of our citizens' views. They develop policies and programs which help to enable the diversity in ideas and choices of the people. They organize the needs of society by taking conflicting issues and evaluating them in order to create policies that are beneficial to everyone. They organize issues in Congress and appoint committees and set agendas. Political parties also act as opposing forces to special interest groups by ensuring each side is heard. Although the two parties have evolved quite a bit since their creation, their core fundamental beliefs are still the same. Republicans favor a more individualistic approach to government and personal achievement. According to the official website of the Republican Party, they believe in power and opportunity of America's free market economy. Free market capitalism, hard work, and individual responsibility have made America successful and should be the focus of government as far as the Republicans are concerned. The Republican approach emphasizes a well-being of people individually and value hard work. Okay. Democrats focus on the well-being of the group. The official website for the Democratic Party, democrats.org, indicates that Democrats believe that we're greater together than we are on our own, that this country succeeds when everyone gets a fair shot, and when everyone does their fair share, and when everybody plays by the same rules. Democrats believe that government must play a large role in the everyday lives of people. They believe in equal outcomes, not just equal treatment. The Democratic fundamental values focus on the group as a whole. Politics can be very confusing. Trying to find out who stands for what can get complicated, especially when there is so much information out there that has an agenda attached to it. Knowing where the groups come from and how they emerge is important to develop that understanding. One of the most important things to remember about the two major political parties is that they come from a place of good intention, and that intention was to give everybody a voice and not let anybody feel persecuted for disagreeing. The second important point is that regardless of their focus, whether it's the individual or the group, their concern is over the people of the United States. There will always be disagreements, but those disagreements allow us to look at both sides of our system in an attempt to be fair and take everyone's opinion into consideration. Our system of government allows for us all to have a voice, and to not have a voice if that is what we choose. Thank you.